Hello, my wonderful friends. Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name is Alana and I love all things makeup and beauty. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing if I could only keep 10 eyeshadow palettes from my collection. Okay, so this video, let me tell you, was super hard. So the video is if I can only keep 10 eyeshadow palettes. And let me tell you, I went back and forth on so many palettes. This was hard, but I finally, downsized to 10 palettes. I got the 10 palettes. So let's go ahead and let me show you the 10 palettes that if I could only keep 10, these would be the 10. So the first one we have is the Mandalorian palette from Colourpop. And of course, I had to keep this palette. You guys know that I love this palette so much. This is my favorite neutral palette in my whole entire collection. And I knew that this was like gonna be at least top 6, if not top 5. So I knew this was gonna be one of them that I was definitely keeping. But we have the neutrals, we have the grungy tones, and if you know me, I love grungy palettes so much. I just love fall aspects. I love a good dark look. I also love shimmers. As you see, I have an all shimmer look today. And let me tell you, this shimmer right here is outstanding. It is so beautiful. It has like a duochrome to it. It has like a blue to brown type of shift to it, and it's just absolutely amazing. So yeah, I would definitely be keeping this. Next palette I'd be keeping is the Earth palette from Adep Cosmetics, and this is what the palette looks like. I really like this palette. As you see, a reoccurring theme, it is grungy. And I actually found that this Adep Cosmetics formula is really good. Now, this is the only melt palette I do have, but I really enjoy this. And there are some that I kind of do want to pick up, like the Smoke Sessions 2, that all purple one. I've heard really good things about that palette, so I kind of want to pick up that palette, to be honest with you. But I know some people did not like this palette, but I love this palette. As you see, it's in my like top 10 if I can only keep 10. And you know how many palettes I have? Like I have like 60 some palettes. So that says something. So this palette is super nice. It really has nice quality. I really feel like people are sleeping on this palette. If you have this palette, that's good. If you don't have the palette, hey, that's all fine too. But I really do like this palette. This palette, it's just amazing. And the color story, I've used this palette probably, I say 5 or more times. And I'm also going to be doing a pan series on my channel very soon. I'm not so sure where to start quite yet. So I'm thinking I probably will show you the palettes that I want to hit pan on, or pan that palette, use all the shades and every and the whole palette. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk today. Wow. So this is how the video is gonna go today, but hey, that's fine. And you know what? Off sidetrack note, but I have learned that I just don't enjoy doing YouTube when I'm too professional. Now, my videos, I used to be so professional. I used to not be goofy. I used to just be serious, and I've come to realize it's just not fun filming when I do that anymore. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and stay goofy. So I'm going to be my regular self in my videos from now on. I mean, yeah, I'm going to still be professional just because, if I want to, if people see my channel like influencers, I kind of want them to think that I'm still like, professional. Don't worry, I'm not, too goofy. But I come to realize I just want to be myself. So I will crack a joke here and then. I will probably leave in some bloopers, to be honest. I just want to be myself. And if you guys are still subscribed and still watch my videos after this video of me being myself, I really appreciate it. And talking about subscribe, don't forget to subscribe. That really helps out my channel. Don't forget to like. That also helps on my channel. And also what helps is watching the whole video If you just want to watch it in the background when doing household chores, sleeping, whatever you do, that also helps a lot. But I decided I'm just going to be myself in these videos. So, yeah. But I really, really like this palette. Really, really nice. I found the quality super good. Next palette we have is the Too Faced palette, the Natural Nudes. And this palette, let me tell you, it's so gorgeous. Now, I was hesitant on this palette because I have just gotten new palettes since doing this video. I actually had this video in mind for like a month ago, and I already had palettes picked out, but I gotten palettes since then, and so I kind of changed everything. And this was like, I really love this palette. I really, really do, and the quality of this is super good. Like, I really want the Aptly in Love from Too Faced. That one looks really, really nice. And the quality of this is just outstanding. It's the good Too Faced quality, but I was just like, I don't know. It was just kind of hard. I was going between my Colourpop Winnie the Pooh Sweet as Can Be palette and this palette, but this palette did beat that palette. And for good reason. It's a really good palette, and if you don't have this palette, I would really suggest picking it up if you're a beginner. Now, it is a little bit more on the expensive side, but I actually got this at Marshall's for, you know, half the price that it usually is. So, and usually Too Faced does sales, so, you know, you can get palettes on sales most likely. But this palette, one of the best palettes that Too Faced has done. Now, I do have a couple of Too Faced palettes, but this one is my favorite out of my whole Too Faced collection. And I do love color, but if I were to reach for a neutral palette, like a neutral palette, not a grungy like the Star Wars one, I would choose this one for sure. Then we have what is on my eyes today is the Heather Austin and Adep Cosmetics collab. And oh my gosh. Y'all just see that? Like, shadow just fell everywhere. I have like shadow. Oh my goodness. Okay. Besides the point, it's amazing. You guys, I'm sparkly now. Hey, I love being sparkly. I love me a good shimmer, so I don't mind. But I love this palette so much. This is my top 3 palettes in my whole collection. Like, no say whatsoever, I would be keeping this. If I only had to keep 3, this would be probably number 2, number 1. I don't know. But definitely top 3 for sure. And I just love it. Adep Cosmetics has really, really good formulas. I feel like their mattes are really workable. Now, they do have some shimmers that are a little bit flaky. So if you don't really like flaky shimmers, as you see, I just had shimmer fall out. It's because it was a little flaky. But I really don't mind the flaky shimmers that Adep Cosmetics has. And they have really smooth shimmers like this one. This one is super smooth, super beautiful. Now, this is a duo / multi-chrome palette. I'm hoping I can show you guys the shifts. I don't know for sure if you'll be able to see them, but absolutely stunning. I love this palette so much. I would never be getting rid of this palette. Heather did such a good job with this palette. Adep did such a good job with this palette, and I actually wear this palette quite a bit. And I'm about to actually hit pan on Austin right here, so I am pretty proud of myself. And I'm about to hit pan on Scrubs too. I use the heck out of this palette. Never be getting rid of. Definitely be keeping this if I only could keep 10 palettes. Next palette we have is the Stone and Rock palette from Odins Eye. And this is one of my favorite Odins Eye palettes in my whole entire Odins Eye collection. It is beautiful. It's grungy. It has really nice quality. And it's green. If you know me, I love my greens. I love me a good green. And let me tell you, this shade right here, High Spirits, it's like a green to blue type of duochrome, and it's absolutely stunning. I love Odins Eye so much. They have never disappointed me. I've never had a palette that I did not like from them, and I have quite a couple palettes from them. So that says something. But this palette is like at least my top 5. Now, I knew going into this video that I would definitely be keeping this. Like, this one, I was like, oh yeah. Oh, for sure, this is like, only if I could keep 10, this would be, and at least 5, if I would say so myself. So I really, really like this. Really good quality, really nice color story, and I think Odins Eye did such a good job. So yeah. Next palette we have is the Daisy Dusa palette from Colourpop, and this is my favorite Colourpop palette. Oh my goodness. I keep digging my hand in 2 shades. I don't know why. That's what the day is going to be like today. Congratulations. You know what? It is super hot today. I'm like really sweating, and I'm hoping my makeup doesn't come off. But you know what? If it does, it does. It don't matter. But as I was saying, I love this palette. My favorite Colourpop palette. And it was like, I think it wasn't my first Colourpop palette, but it definitely was the first one that I really liked. I did own a couple palettes, but I really, really liked this one when I got it. Like, I knew I was going to like this one when I got it. Oh my goodness, how rude. You hear that ding? Yeah, I apologize. That's very rude of me. I should have turned off my sound. Oh well, like I said, I'm going to be myself in videos. I really want to be. I feel like if you're yourself, you gain more audiences. And you might lose some. I might lose some. Hey, you know what? That's all good. I don't really care. I mean, I do care, but I really want to enjoy this. I want this to be my full-time job. But otherwise, we're like getting off track so much. Besides the point. I really like this palette so much. It's just a beautiful palette. And let me tell you, the Super Shocks in here, like this one and this one, the two in here, are just gorgeous. I've never had a problem with this palette, and I'd be keeping this palette for like the rest of my life. I would die with this palette, to be honest. You know what? Put this in my casket, and I'm good. I'm good to go. But really nice palette. So yeah. Next, we have the Club Nebula palette from Kidos. And I recently just got this palette from Dove's Beauty Diary, aka Danielle. If you don't know who she is, she's a YouTuber, amazing friend. I will link her channel down below. She's amazing. Like, she is super nice. And I literally recently just got this palette. And I've used the heck out of this palette already. And y'all, this is the color story. This is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I've been wanting this palette so bad. And I finally got my hands on it. She's like, hey, I'm getting rid of this. Never used. She's like, do you want it? I was like, oh yeah, heck yeah, I want it. Like, now I have every Angie's collab. This is in collab with Angelica Nicovis. And now I have every single collab that Angelica Nicovis has. Like, all the 3 Odins Eye and this Kidos one. So I was super happy to get this, and I've used the heck out of this palette already. I made a beautiful look with this palette. I've multiple looks with this palette. I've used almost every shade in this palette. Oh my gosh. To be honest with you, I have almost used every shade of this palette. So I haven't used out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of 15 shades, I haven't used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Wow. I can't believe I used it that much. You guys, this is just a good palette. Now, unfortunately, you can't get your hands on it anymore. But people are always selling it on like Mercari or Poshmark or Depot. So if you want it, I mean, you could probably check out those websites. But this palette, oh my goodness. I knew I was going to love it when I got it, but I didn't know how much, like, I love this palette. So Danielle, I just want to thank you so much. You really made my year with this, to be honest. I love this palette so much. So yeah, if I could only keep 10, this would definitely be one. Okay, next palette is, of course, y'all knew this palette was going to be in here, right? You guys knew. It is the Natasha Denona Yucca palette. And I love this palette. This is my favorite palette in my whole entire collection. This is my #1 palette. If you did not know, this is #1. And I love Natasha Denona. I have quite a bit of palettes from her. I have 5 now. 5 palettes from her. I can't believe I have 5. That's quite a bit. You know, she's pretty expensive, so I have 5. Yeah, 5. That's a lot. Okay. But this is such a grungy tone, and the quality, Oh my goodness. The quality on this, absolutely gorgeous. It's just one of my favorite palettes because, well, one, the color story. I love a grungy color story, and this is definitely grungy. But the quality, and I know that she does have this palette sometimes on sale, so if you don't want to get the full price, I would definitely wait for a sale. But it's worth the full price, to be honest with you. Just the palette, I love it. The color story, the quality, it's amazing. And even the outside packaging, like, you see this? Okay, mine's a little dirty, I do apologize, but it is super gorgeous. So yeah, I love this palette. Natasha Denona did such a good job, and recently she just came out with like more neutral palettes, and I just wish she came out with a colorful palette again. She came out with that golden palette, and I'm not gonna pick it up just because I'm not really into it. I have shades, golden shades that I like. It's just a neutral palette. And that's what she's been putting out. But if she puts out something like this, but in a blue or purple form, you bet I will be picking it up for sure. But lovely palette. Definitely be keeping this if I can only keep 10. Next palette is the Nomad Ghost Town USA palettes. And I love this palette. This is the first palette in my whole entire collection that I hit pan. I hit pan on Quicksilver right here. And I just love this palette. Nomad is such a nice brand. They are like my favorite indie brand. And they're so nice. You really should check them out if you haven't yet. Now, they do some sales once in a while. So if you don't want to pick up like palettes full price, then I would definitely wait for the sales. But they're definitely worth the full price. Like, let me tell you that. And I will go ahead and link down as many brands as I can down below in the description box. But this palette, it blew me away. Like, I knew when they showed the reveal of the color story, I knew I was going to pick it up. And this was like last year, around September, I think September, August, somewhere around there is when they released this. And I knew I was going to pick it up. I just knew it. I was like, oh yeah, this is one of the Nomad palettes I'm definitely going to have to pick up because the quality, the color story, everything about this is really nice. And Nomad, like I said, it's just a nice brand. Their customer service, the people that own the brand are super nice. And it also has the lenticular packaging. Wow. Cannot talk today. Hoping you can see it. I try to go a little slow so that way you guys can really look at it. But this palette, don't sleep on it, please. Please don't sleep on it. It is one of my favorite palettes that Nomad has done. Well, it was. The next one that we're going to talk about, it did beat it, but it didn't really beat it because they're just the same, because they're just so good. And like I said, this is the first palette I ever hit a pan on, so this is kind of like has sentimental memories now. But I really love this palette, so yes. And the last palette, if I could only keep 10 palettes, is the Nomad Keys Beachy and Peachy palette. And this is what the palette looks like. Absolutely gorgeous, outstanding. I was gifted this from Nomad, not from PR, but I did win the guessing game contest, or the guessing contest, you know, where they do like they do little clues and you gotta guess what it is. And I did win it, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Nomad, again, because this palette, the performance was so nice. Like, even the color story, it's all over the place, but it's not all over the place. You can make so many good looks with this. It has really good quality. The formula is Nomad's best formula that they've done. Like the Ghost Town USA, that one also, the formula is just so good. Now, I only do have 3 from them, but I'm hoping to pick up more. But this one, oh my goodness. I knew when I was doing this video also that this one was gonna be one of the 10 palettes. Now, there were some palettes that I knew that was gonna be in this video for sure. But then there was some that I was like going back and forth, but this one wasn't. I knew for sure this one was gonna stay. So I really love this palette. You can still get your hands on it, and I would definitely get your hands on it if you like the color story, because the formula is easy to work with. It's beginner friendly, to be honest, and I feel like Nomad is beginner friendly. Like, if you're just starting out with makeup and you really want to find a good indie brand, I would suggest Nomad. But that is the video. So those are my 10 palettes, if I can only keep 10. And I just want to thank everybody for watching. And if you like the new type of thing I'm doing with just being goofy, just being myself, please leave a like so that way I know you like it. Till then, stay healthy, stay beautiful, and stay safe. Bye.